This is the virtual field operator for Simtronix Advanced GOSP and Gas Dehydration Plant. What I'm going to do is give a little overview of the process and give you a little idea of the capability of the virtual field operator you see in front of you. I'm using a standard PlayStation game controller to pan around and look at the unit from behind the operator. You see we have 3 wells here, and they're hooked into various manifolds. One's a test manifold, a low pressure manifold, and the other one's a high pressure manifold. And each of the 3 wells are linked into these particular manifolds, as you can see, just looking at the connections on the top of the manifold. And these, from these manifolds, are routed into the various units. There's an A train to the one gas oil separation plant. There's an A train. There's also a B train, and then there is a test separator. So we have 3 ways of routing the oil into the unit. From here, I'm going to now, instead of looking from behind the operator, another view we can look at is the actual view from the field operator's eyes. And so we don't see the field operator in this particular view. It's just looking around. And this is useful when we're going up to equipment and we want to inspect gauges, so we can kind of move around a little bit and change our perspective and look at gauges. And as we approach a gauge, you'll notice in the upper right-hand corner, there is a box that will give us a PV reading. And if I get closer to the particular instrument, you'll see now that we have PI 002 in the upper right-hand box, and it's wellhead number 2 pressure indicator, excuse me. And then we can look up, and then we can see that same reading on the particular instrument. And then from here, the field operator can do a field operation. We can change the choke opening on the well. Right here we have, we're going to see it shortly, I think. We should get in close, and there we have the choke. And so if we wanted to adjust the opening of the choke, we can do this using our game controller. There's a little toggle switch here where we can now start to ramp the output. You'll see in the upper right-hand corner the choke valve, and you see our output is started at 75, and I'm just tapping it 1% at a time down to 65%. And as we do this, we're connected into the simulator, and then there's also a DCS attached to it to look at the process, as in our normal Simtronix simulator. The nice thing about the virtual field operator is a virtual field operator can actually run the unit from anywhere in the world as long as you have an internet connection. So there's a server, so it could be in the next state or the next country to do this, and they don't have to be physically on the same computer system or on the same network. Okay, so then this allows coordination and play between 2 different people, one being the field operator and the other one being the inside operator. Okay, now we'll get out of that mode and we'll go into flyover mode. This is the 3rd view. And this gives us ability to do looking at the plant from above. So I'm going to try to get this going so that we go up. And sometimes it's a little, depending where you are and you start from, it could be a little bit of an issue. There we go. And now we're flying upward, and we're going to take a little view of the plant here. So let me just pop this up a little bit. If we look down, we can see the 3 wells. So I can just kind of pan around a little bit. Okay, you see the 3 wells and the headers, and you see that they go through the pipe racks and then onto the processing equipment. On the left side, you'll see the gas compressors. They're 3 stage green on the left, by the left side by the fencing, and on the right side by the fencing. So all the flash gas that comes off the GOSP unit will be compressed and handled by these compressors. You'll see the B train is on the left, the A train is on the right. You'll see 3 horizontal separators in a row on each side of the pipe rack. Those are the 3-phase separators for the oil and water separation and the gas separation from the feed oil. The farthest of the separators are the high pressure ones, so they link into the high pressure stage of the gas compressor. And then, of course, the middle ones link into the middle stage or the second stage of the gas compressor. And then the first ones link into the low pressure stage. So there's subsequent depressuring of the oil coming toward us. But in the gas compression, it's in compression from first stage to third stage in the opposite direction, because of the way the oil flows countercurrent to the gas flow, compressed gas flow. Okay. And now we can, in the distance, you see that we have the gas dehydration unit. You see the large tower is the contactor, the dehydrator. And then beyond it is the regenerator, where the circulating solvent, triethylene glycol, is regenerated, the water is driven out. The unit also has a test separator. That's here in the foreground by the pipe rack here. We can kind of zoom in a little bit on that, I hope. Right there, there's the test separator, so we can hook up any well to the test separator and test its performance individually, rather than looking at mixing up any different the wells into the manifolds. Each of the trains has a desalter for the produced oil prior to sending it out to battery limits. So on the right, you'll see it covered. This is covered here, and that is the desalter, D401A, and all its equipment is tagged around it. So in the flyover view, we do notice that we can see the particular tagging of equipment. So if we're trying to locate something, this kind of becomes a little bit of a convenient feature if we're looking for a particular instrument tag. Because once you're on the ground, you'll see that it looks like spaghetti, like a real unit would look like. Very, very confusing to the operator, which gives us a really great capability for training people, not haven't really gone into a real unit yet, but to give them a very good, realistic impression of just what it will look like when they get into one. So this is excellent for training so-called newbies. Okay, and so what I'm going to do is change our little perspective. We can kind of change our route, and I'm going to start walking around and showing you some of the capabilities of just what we can do here in the GAS. So the first thing I'm going to do is actually going to walk over and find the A train desalter. So we're going to walk around here, and I see it up ahead. Let's take a little bit of that, and we're going to walk through. And the first thing I'm going to do is show you is that here we go. There's a mud wash pump, and this will just circulate the water that's in the desalter, circulate it around to kind of churn up and make sure that there's not any mud going on. You can see we're behind the fence from our view, so the fences actually come into our view here. So I'll go over a little bit and then fly over. And you'll see as we approach it, up in the upper right-hand corner, you'll see P404A, desalter mud wash pump, is stopped. So with my buttons here on the game console, controller, excuse me, I can now hit and make it start it to run. And then if I go over now, I have a flow controller, a flow indicator here, and there's a flow indication there. And if you look up on the right, the mud wash flow control is 50 PV. I believe that's GPM. And if I wanted to take a look at it from the operator's eyes, I could be looking at it this way. So we can just say, oh, there's 50. Okay. And then I can look around and the pump is there on the ground. And then we can go over and make sure, see what the position on the control valve is. So as I go over, walk over, I can go around and take a looky and see what the position is. So I'm going to kind of slide around here a little bit and look. And you see we also have the position indication here. So we can go around and read valve positions and the like. So that's what the operator can do in a nutshell. So you can walk around, trace piping on the pipe racks and the like. So now I'm going to go back to the over the shoulder view. And this is really useful because when we do this, we can now do things like watch and climb up ladder. So we can, if we need to do that. You'll notice that we observe all proper safety regulations, 3 points of contact at all time on the simulator. I press the A button on my game controller, and now I can climb up. So we simulate climbing up. I just push forward and climb up. And now once I'm up, I can now kind of walk around and go look at some of the readings here. So I can come up here, take a looky, and I can check my readings. So you can see in the upper right-hand corner what the reading is, and if I went to the this here, I could just take the reading right off of it from the direct view from the operator's eyes. Okay, and that's pretty much that in a nutshell what we can do with the VFO 3040. We can show you the rest of the unit walking around. It'll take a little bit of a time, but this is really gives you a great idea of what we can do. So now if we just back up here a little bit, now A to climb, I can climb back down and do the reverse. You see, it's pretty realistic, the climbing. And now let's take just a quick walk around and just check some of the other equipment looks like. So you see, we can walk around, and then steer ourselves. So the younger students and the like and trainees really take to this, since they probably play a lot of games, right? So Fortnite and the like, gamers shoot them. So there's your compressors here, 3 stages of compression, and it's identical on the other side, just a mirror image on the other side of the unit. Okay, and then our knockout drums here with their control valves and the like, and instrumentation. So it gives us a really realistic interface to the simulator of just exactly the type of equipment we're controlling and operating. And let's go back down here to the gas dehydration section. So you see this is at the other end now. The gas has been produced, compressed, high pressure. We just want to get the water out. So that'll happen here in the contactor. And there it is. To the left is the knockout drum on the gas coming in. We have a little cooler on it. If you look left, little water cooler, and then a condensate that comes in and gets knocked out and then recovered. Okay, and on the right, we have our feed effluent exchangers and the like, storage equipment for solvent, intermediate tanks. That's, I think, our flash tank for when coming down, when we're letting down the circulating solvent. Our pumps. So boom. And you see here, glycol circulation pump. This is the beat pump. And so if we wanted to start it, we would simply push our toggle and then start that pump. And we would coordinate this, of course, with an inside operator who's working the console. And let me show you what that looks like real quick. That's our standard Simtronics interface. So, for example, if we wanted to see this on the glycol regeneration, we could see here we've got 2 pumps running. Down here, this is we started both of the pumps. So if we go back to the outside, we can stop the A pump. So the A pump, we have to go to the other side. Can we walk across that? Let's see if that's safe enough to go across. If it's safe enough. Yes, we did. Oh, almost tripped there. Okay, and there we go. We can stop the A pump. So let's just stop that with our game controller. Stop it. So we've successfully switched pumps here. It's one of our duties as a field operator. And sure enough, you see here the A pump is stopped. So that has been successfully done, and that coordination can be done by the 2 trainees, one on the inside, one on the outside. So it's really a great training tool here for the field operator plus coordination with the board operator. Okay, and then it's, of course, you see we're climbing stairs. Of course, again, making in adhering to safety standards, 3 points of contact, putting your hand on the rail as you go up. And then, of course, what's nice about getting up a little higher in elevation is you get some better vistas. Just looks pretty realistic. So we can zoom and pan around and check various things. Okay, well, that's it. You've seen pretty much the whole unit and the capabilities of the virtual field operator.